Hello, welcome to Undead Yarn. This is episode 113. My name is Heidi, and
I'm Anthony.
this is my husband. He's here for today.
Giving it a shot.
I'm going to go ahead and just get started. I forgot to mention, but I mention it every podcast. My name is Nitty Girl on Ravelry, and you can find my channel on YouTube, and I'm Undead Yarn on Twitter and on Instagram. Let me go ahead and go right into what I've been working on. So first I'm gonna talk about what I've been doing.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna show them something I finished. And then I have some winners to announce. And then I might briefly do this, but we're gonna talk about what we did together.
Sounds cool. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, so here we go. My first thing that I've been working on I just took out things I've been working on the last month, not stuff I've been working on the last several months. That's I figured I don't need to take that long on this. Right now this is stuck. This is my Christmas color. It's called Christmas Land, and there's still one of these in the shop right now. I may be sending that off to somebody if it doesn't go soon. So if you want it, go claim it. Anyway, these are the socks I've been knitting for my nephew. And you can see I'm a little bit more than halfway done on this one. And these will go to him as soon as they're done. They were supposed to be for Christmas, but of course you know how we all are with getting things done on time for Christmas. Anyway, this is what the colorway looks like. And it's named after the place in that book called Nosferatu, and they also have a series. I watched it on Shudder, and it was pretty good. They got some good actors for that. But that's what it's named after, if you have not heard of Christmas Land before and what it was.
So just a little bit of context. What's really cool about those is we just got back from a cruise to the Caribbean, and throughout the entire cruise, I got a chance to see those go from like this big to like this big to this big to the full sock. And then she actually started on the second one, I think when we got back, or was it while we were
No, actually, this one was done. And this was ready in time for Christmas, but I didn't want to send him just one sock. So this one I started. But I did most of this. I've only knit a little bit on it lately. I did pretty much the whole cuff from here all the way down. I think on our plane ride back, maybe. I did it. It didn't take long at all, but we had a pretty long plane ride.
Yeah. A couple layovers too, so it actually worked out really well that she had that with her.
And let's see, the other thing I've been working on, actually I haven't worked on it this month, but I worked on it a lot last month before we went on our cruise. And this is the Once Upon a Corgi Advent calendar, and I know the reason I got it is it's based on stuff from Sarah J. Maas's novels, and I love her. But I think it might be from the Court of Thorn and Roses, which I have not read. For some reason I thought it was Throne of Glass, but I haven't read that series yet, but I like everything she writes, so I know I'm going to love it anyway. So the main color, I don't know if everybody did it, but I think you could buy a main color with the minis, or maybe you could just get the minis by themselves. So I've already been through the first 4, and unfortunately I did not write down the pattern name for this. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and what I'll probably do is I'll post it on the Ravelry group under this episode. I'll post what the name of this pattern is if anybody's interested in it. It reminds me a lot of another pattern that another designer put out, the Lamina Wrap, I think. It looks a lot like that, but this one is a free one.
So are those stitch markers from a set, or are they just unique little stitch markers you picked up along the way? What are those all about? You have a little skull here. It's kind of cool.
Oh, actually, I forgot about the stitch markers. You're right. This I bought a Halloween yarn box from somebody.
Cool.
And I don't remember the name of her business. It might be Knitting is Metal. I think that's the name of her.
Cool.
On Ravelry, or not on Ravelry, on Instagram. But let's see, most of these are from that box. You can see they are kind of cute. There's like a skeleton, a spider web, and then there's some other Halloweeny type things. And then I forgot the other one I have I don't even think these people are dying anymore, but they used to vend this. You can see it's an old one. It's from Stitches, Texas, 2015. Twisted Owl Fibers. They used to be vendors at some of the yarn shows around here. But that's what all the stitch markers are. Oh, good call.
You saw them, so I figured you want to talk about them. So.
Yeah, I don't sell them, but somebody does. Knitting is Metal had them in that kit, but I'm not sure if she's selling them separately. They may have just been special for the kit. So those are the two things that I've been working on the most, well, except for the finished object I'm going to show you. And this bag is really cute. I got it from Hill Country Weavers Retreat last year. It's by Danika Studios, and I think they also sell on Knit Picks too, but she has these in her shop. Hill Country Weavers has them, and I love the bag that I got. Some people got different prints, but I got a llama.
Pretty good heavy canvas,
yeah, it
too.
is. It's a very sturdy bag, and I have both of those projects in here. It's a pretty big bag. Let me show you guys. It's a nice, really nice size.
So is it usually the insides for the yarn and stuff, and the outside pocket is probably for the needles or something, or does it really matter? Does it?
Well, it depends on the bag maker. Sometimes they don't put. Sometimes they put pockets on the inside instead of on the outside.
Gotcha.
And actually, in here I do have some stuff. This is from that Flock Yarn Shop.
Oh, that's cool.
That I went to in Nantucket.
Yeah.
That's a needle holder. I thought it was pretty cool because it's a whale, and was a big whaling industry.
This is really cool because
whaling industry.
So I don't know if Heidi ever mentioned it, but I have a laser cutter. I can actually cut these things out and make these things. Just coming up with a design first and then like cutting it out. So it's really cool. It's like a little thin piece of wood. Definitely have the capability to do that, and then have the capability to create something on there. And it looks like they've got something on the back here, the address, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, did they think they burned that in
But
there,
it's a
or is it
neat
probably
little,
with the same kind of machine?
It's probably the same type of machine. I'm sure they cut it out, laser cut it, and then you can also etch. So you probably cut the shape, and then for each one of the holes you cut out the holes, and then it also does etching on top of the wood, so you can tell it what depth to cut it. You can either cut it through, or you can just do it on the top. And so it kind of burns it on there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I didn't notice before, but there's also a little ruler on the edge, on the tail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just a needle finder; it's also a little bit of a ruler.
You could come up with any number of designs for that. You could do like horror themed designs. That'd be pretty fun, and just have different ones out there.
Oh, neat!
Yeah, you could do some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I know we had also talked about he's seen some of those earrings. You know, those etched out wood earrings. He could probably make them.
Yeah.
On his
definitely
printer.
Looking for ways to experiment with that thing. I haven't really fired it up lately because I've got a lot of interests like that, and then like a 3D printer, and then some other online stuff that I do. So I don't know if Heidi ever mentioned it, but I'm a UX designer. I work for a fintech company here in Austin, and I manage a small team, and we do user experience design. So it's a lot of it's about different flows for applications. But I'm a historical like designer by trade. Like that's what I went to school for, and then got into web design, and then finally UX design. So I started out in print design, worked at a print shop for a bunch of years, and then switched over to web, and now it's UX. So. So all of this is really exciting to me. Like, it's been really cool to be able to tag along with Heidi at a lot of these shows and everything. Yeah. So I love, and I guess she's going to talk about it a little bit more later, but the community aspect is amazing. Yeah, I haven't really seen anything like that anywhere else. And I've gone to a lot of Comic Cons and these types of things. Even dragged you to a couple of them.
Because he used to have a comic book.
Yeah, typical nerd like checklist comic. Done comic, done all these things. So I have that.
I also found this in there. I can't remember where I got this. Maybe it was at the retreat, but look at this. His eyeball is the tape measure. It says "so tasty" on the back, but cool. I'm not sure where this tape measure came from, but that was in there. And also, look what else I found.
Oh, jeez.
You can tell I brought that on the trip because this is we went on Freedom of the Seas, and this is the thing that shows I ripped it already, but It shows you where you can find things on the ship.
Yeah, really cool trip. Definitely recommend if you get a chance.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Going to Puerto Rico, checking out all the islands. We did St. Kitts, St. Lucia, St. Martin, Saint John, Antigua, and then Barbados. Just so cool.
Some of them we want to go back to.
Yeah, so many cool excursions. We did, spelunking in this cave, which is really cool.
We didn't spelunk.
Well, we didn't
rode
like
a train.
We didn't do like the hardcore we had helmets.
Yeah, but we did have to wear helmets because it was like it's a living cave, so we were getting all.
I kind of oversold that. It wasn't spelunking. It was just on a train, and you basically, you basically had a hard hat on, and they were showing you different places. You'd get off, take pictures, get back on, go down. We did see some real spelunkers.
Actually,
though.
They did have that was one option for one of the tours. That was in Barbados. They had you could take the spelunking tour, and I'm glad we didn't because they were covered in mud when we saw them.
We were coming back up while they were going down, and we saw they were just covered in dirt and just disgusting.
Yeah,
but they had the equipment on. They had knee elbow pads, knee pads, all that stuff, and goggles. And so
and they said, "Any of you guys want to join us?" And we all just laughed at them.
Yeah.
And waved goodbye.
Ours was definitely like Cave Exploring 101. They were on like the advanced cave exploring kind of thing. But it was cool. We got some cool pictures from it and everything.
Yeah, so it was a really neat experience.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've been to caves before, but we'd only been to the kind where you walk through. This one, I think they're being more careful.
Yeah.
Like trying to keep people from touching things because we were only able to get out of the train maybe twice.
Yeah.
So
they're designated
trying to keep
areas
it more natural. Although they do have the people who were spelunking.
That was cool. And then, of course, we did the jungle tour where you get to go up and poor Heidi probably has tons of stories to tell about the jungle tour. She was a trooper. She hung in there.
I'm glad I did it. Yeah. I'm glad I did it, you guys, because
you
guys already know. I told you about what had happened with my leg. Well, I was afraid I would never be able to do anything major as far as hiking again, and we did this pretty strenuous hike through the rainforest.
Yeah.
The end part, we had to go way up the hill.
Yeah.
And pull. They had ropes because you needed ropes to get up the hill.
Yeah, the hike itself wasn't that difficult. It was actually
it was kind of challenging, but it wasn't.
The hardest part was when we actually had to climb.
As difficult as the
part
end
that Heidi was describing, where you have to climb the mountain, and it's basically. It's probably like maybe a 75 to 80% incline, so
and it was long.
Something like this, maybe even a little more steep, maybe closer to 90.
No, it wasn't like a little short,
like 80.
Short
patch
either. It was pretty.
Probably 3 to 4 stories, maybe even taller.
Yeah, it was pretty high
up.
And
you have a rope to climb up, but you're basically stepping on roots and little holes that have been dug out by people. And I'm somewhat afraid of heights, and so I was afraid to look down.
I didn't look down.
Up there.
The people behind me said, "Don't look down."
Yeah, it was up there.
No, I won't. I'll just look up.
And so it was just a matter of like plowing through it and getting to the top. And then we got up there. You were exhausted, and
oh my god, we were dying. We were all like just covered in sweat.
I was worried we'd have to go back down the same way, but luckily they had a switchback trail behind there.
So
we just
didn't have to
back
go
and forth.
No,
so that wasn't so bad. So so
much
it was good.
better.
It was fun.
But we had a good time.
Yeah, that was another thing. I know this isn't a podcast about cruises, so I'll shut up and let you do your thing.
It's okay.
Sorry.
They like to. I tell them usually at the end we'll talk about some stuff that I've been doing.
All right.
And this is my finished object. I'm not going to put it on because I don't want to mess up my hair. But this is my Keep It Simple cowl. And one of my friends runs a charity. It's Christian Child Society, I think. We call it CCS. And they have started accepting cowls because in the past it was mostly stuff for babies. But they're also doing things for the kids as well who don't have a lot. And so I made this cowl. She said my pattern would be great for the charity thing because she wanted a cowl that will be up around your neck, not one of the big long ones where you have to twist it and put it over. So just something that they could slip on. In this one, I made it so that it is kind of like a dickie. Do you remember those?
Yeah. Usually they had the thing down here though. You'd have like the fake turtleneck and the
So, but I made it kind of in that style so that you can wear it up if you want to, or you can wear it down, so you can fold it down. So either way, depends on how much of your neck you want covered. So anyway, this is just some Woolies yarn, and believe it or not, I dyed that. I did not know. I was very surprised it actually took the dye because it's only 20% wool. The rest of it's acrylic.
Oh, wow.
And it's supposed to be really hard to dye acrylic. I've never tried.
Hmm.
I didn't really see a point to it, but yeah. So
That's neat.
this is Woolies yarn, and this is going to go to charity, and I'm probably going to be making a bunch more. And that leads me into what the next year-long knit-along is going to be. And what I wanted to do this year is I have 3 patterns out, and in the future I probably will put out some more, but right now there's 3 patterns, and they're all free. And my year-long knit-along is going to be for, if you knit any of those patterns, you can post it. And each month I'll do like I did last year. Each month I will pull for a winner from that group, and you'll win some prizes. I have not pulled the prizes yet, but I will. What I'm going to try to do is each month show you which one's what it's gonna be. And if I don't, for some reason I don't podcast, I'll put a picture of it in the thread where we post. So the year-long knit-along is going to be for if you knit anything in my patterns, and it doesn't have to be my yarn. It can be whatever yarn you want. And that's going to run for the whole year. So I will start that soon because January is already partway over. Oh my gosh. Before we start talking about other stuff, I just wanted to mention that I have posted some of my knitting goals in Ravelry. So if you guys are interested in letting me know what your goals are, we can kind of have a discussion about that this year, about what we're planning to work on and what we actually get done. I'm hoping that'll be kind of like an incentive for me to get certain things finished. What I wanted to say is the FO thread for Finisher Frogget is closed because it's January, New Year, and I wanted to let you know who the winners were for the last 3 months since I have not podcasted since October. So October winner is Angie's Hip, and she's from Canada, and I already have picked your prize. I think I have it in here, hopefully. Yes. I have a needle holder. I know a lot of people like to use these for their DPNs, but you can use them for circulars too. You just put it in there and then you close it and it keeps your project from slipping off the needles. And then I also have a notions holder. And this is from the Knitting Nest, which is not around anymore. So you're getting something that you can't get anymore. Huh. I kind of like the insides because the little pockets, they're, let's see if I can open it.
Plastic covering over the top of them?
Yeah, each one there's like a covering so that they'll stay in their spot.
That's neat.
So this is for you, Angie. I believe your name's Angie because I think I've sent you stuff before. So if you hear this, go ahead and PM me on Ravelry and let me know your address so I can mail this off to you. And then the winner for November is Jodadiah from California. And the winner for December is MVA5493 Valerie. And you guys, I will be sending you guys each something, but I need you to PM me on Ravelry and send me your address. I think I've sent stuff to you guys before, but it's easier if you just tell me now so I don't have to search through Ravelry. And also, I want to know that you're the winners.
That's pretty cool. So you do a drawing every time you do a podcast? Is that what?
Yes, every
cool.
month. Huh. Usually, there's the people who have won for doing finished objects in Undead yarn. I've already pinged them on Ravelry. I've already ear burned you. So one of you I think has not responded. So if you posted a finished object in Undead yarn in the last few months, go into Ravelry and check and see if you have an ear burn. So one of you or two of you have already contacted me, and I've already sent your gifts off. And I still have a gift to send off to another person too, that they won a couple months ago. So I am one behind, but I will get there.
That's really neat. So what's the weirdest thing you've ever sent somebody? Is it usually just little...
It's usually knitting things.
Okay.
I try to do yarn most of the time, but I do have a lot of other things that I get from going to retreats that I might not necessarily use, but somebody else would use. Good. Like this, I probably won't. I know I won't use it because I don't use double-pointed needles, and that's what people usually use them for.
Yeah, even as an artist, you could use this for pencils or like your B2s, B4s, different pencils and stuff. So you could... Again,
that's true.
It's multi-purpose,
right.
cool little bag. So
yeah, that's true. All these bags, like
if your
some
husband
people,
or boyfriend likes to draw, I mean, there's other things you can do with it.
Some people use some things like this as They're purses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Hold on a second. What's this thing?
Oh, that's that's a pin I got. Actually, when I went to SSK, people leave stuff out. It's a take it or leave it table.
Oh, okay.
And somebody left this out, and I had to take it because
little...
it's old school Ravel Linux. Before they told us we couldn't call it that.
Oh,
or something. I can't remember. Was it No, it was the knitting. I can't remember what it was. That they made us change the name, and that's from 2018. And there's Bob. He's the mascot from Ravelry.
French Bulldog or Boston Terrier?
Boston Terrier. Okay, yeah, he's Boston Terrier.
That's cool. Neat.
So, okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was East Texas Fiber Fest. I won't make Anthony sit here and watch me show all the yarn. But
you want to get out of the way?
Should I show it?
No,
no, you don't have to get out of the way. I just didn't know if you wanted to sit and listen to me talk about all this yarn.
I got nothing else going on.
This is the East Texas Fiber Festival.
I can hold it up if you want.
Was in November. I'm going to show them around. Yeah. And By the Bay Yarn Company. Let's see if I can get in there so you can see the... She makes bags that are similar to fringe bags, but they're less expensive. And I really like this bag because it has the East Texas Fiber Festival logo on it. And normally she makes this shape of a bag, and it always has a pull, and it also always has handles. This one has 2 handles, and it has extra pockets. Like it's got two big pockets in the front. So I really like this one, and it fit all my purchases in it too. This was the first thing I bought when I got there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she was right in the front, and I saw the print, and I had already seen it online, and I knew I wanted one for, like, it's like a memento.
That's cool.
I think it says the year on there too. Yeah. So that's
bird's eye
2019.
Like the size.
It's pretty big. As big as my head.
Yeah. It's cool.
It fits a lot of yarn. Look at all that yarn in there.
That's cool.
So I'll show you some of it. This one I got on my way up to East Texas Fiber Fest. I stopped at a new yarn shop. It's called Treecko, and it's in Waco. That's their first yarn shop.
Cool.
And I bought some less traveled yarn because I have never heard of this yarn before. And apparently these people are from Arizona. And this is the tag from the shop. It's Treecko. It's a really cute shop. Most of the stuff that she has in there is indie dyers. And most of them are from Texas.
Does it matter which I pull out? Just give you the whatever you want? Or does it?
Let's see. I think I bought more than one from this person. So let me go ahead and I'll start with... Okay, and these are people who this rest of the stuff is from East Texas Fiber Fest. These are people who were next to me at the last show, Houston. You haven't gone to the Houston show.
Been to a few, but not
that one. Show. Yeah, Have Wool, We Will Travel, and they were at this event, and I love DK Sparkle because I don't carry it, and it's perfect for socks. It's sock yarn basically. But look at the colors. Aren't they pretty? Those are definitely going to be a pair of socks. I already know that. And here is, I guess I already showed you. There. And this one is called Surprise Upgrade Checked Baggage. I'm not sure what that means. Or no. I'm not sure. No, it's called Behind the Piney Curtain. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but that's pretty. It reminds me of the forest. So there's one. This was a new to me person. She is going to be at Dallas Fort Worth Fiber Festival if you guys have not been there. And I would have to say she is probably one of my new favorite indie dyers. Y'all, I saw these neons from across the way. And then I went up to look at her booth and I was like, oh my gosh, she named these two are after 2 of my favorite fantasy novels. So she kind of pulled me in. I saw the colors first.
What are your 2 favorite fantasy novels?
2 of my favorite fantasy novels. This one, where are the names? Okay, this is called Mimi Sock. It's 75/25 merino nylon, 463 yards. And the palette is high fantasy. So she dyes in palettes. She has like stuff grouped that whole group of yarns will go together.
Oh, interesting.
So you can pick any 2 yarns from that group and they'll go together. And she also had on the side of each one, she had knit a whole row of all the colors from that group. So you could kind of move the swatch back and forth to put the colors together to see how they did go together. So you're gonna laugh about this one. This one is called. Let me make sure I'm getting the right one. This one is called Aragon.
Cool.
Oh, I tortured Anthony making
Oh,
him listen to that.
those were the audiobooks were.
He didn't like it.
No, I didn't like those at all. But every time we got in Heidi's car, she always had them on. She had to finish them to return them to the library. So
Aragon.
Yeah, jeez, the acting, the voice acting. I don't know. Maybe some people you liked it.
I loved it. I loved it. Anyway, and then this is the other one, and you can see like I could knit these together in something if I wanted to, and this one is Name of the Wind, and I love those books. The Name of the Wind books. He's the guy who wrote. He's doing like George R.R. Martin. He's written 2 amazingly long novels that are great, and we've been waiting for the 3rd one for years. Just like George Martin has taken forever on the next Game of Thrones book.
See, I wish I could read more fiction books. I usually read tech books, like business books or technology books, and so I don't get a chance to, if I do anything that's more of like entertainment type of thing, it'll be like TV or something, or like a series on Netflix,
or like a maybe listen in your car or something.
Yeah.
He likes business stuff.
Yeah, super boring.
No
Sorry,
thanks.
guys.
And I did get a skein of yarn from Suburban Stitcher. Diane was there. She also will be at DFW Fiber Fest. This one is her Peach Tea colorway. And I was excited last year when the Pantone color was peach, because a lot of people don't like peach or orange, and they don't dye anything orange. So, and then Amanda has this new, she's not sure if she's going to carry it or not. Lone Star Arts, Amanda from Lone Star Arts. She is not sure if she's really going to carry this base or not, but it's interesting. It's a single skein of wool, and then it's wrapped with stellina. Do they call it stellina or lurex? So I also love the colorway. I think one of my other friends bought the same colorway. She's like,
really?
oh, I got that one. Oh, and this one, I started a trend, y'all. When I went and bought this one, and then I went back and showed them, and I was talking about all the stuff that she had in her booth, 4 people from my table got up and went and bought yarn from her.
That's good.
I'm an enabler, I guess. And then Savvy Skeins, of course, I always want to buy something from her. I got 2 of these, and this is really luxurious yarn. This is silk, woolen silk, and it is a DK weight. And so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these, but I've got 2 of them so I can make a decent size something, maybe a poncho with that. And it's the last one.
It's like,
Yeah. Oh, and this is coming up. If any of y'all are in the Corpus Christi area, the Yellow Rose is going to have a show there, January 31st and February 1st. It's going to be the first one, and they're still going to have the one that's in Seguin too. And this actually was my first Fiber Fest that I've ended at. And you helped me, you remember?
Yeah. These guys are great.
Yeah,
this is so much fun. Yeah, I loved, and I'll probably talk about this a little bit more, but for me, tagging along and helping set up booths and all that stuff is just so much fun.
It was fun.
Even like just exploring some of the booths and everything is always neat. I said before I used to do my own comic, and so I would do these comic conventions, and I'd have my own booth with my comics laid out and everything. I'd do it with a friend of mine. And it was very similar to see the setup, but I liked the yarn. I think the yarn folks are a little more friendly because I don't know. I just think there's a lot of baggage when it comes to like comic books and that type of thing, and a lot of people have their own preconceived notions based on like Marvel and DC about what they should be, and so it's a little bit of a different, like publishing is way different than like fiber arts. So I think fiber arts is more of a community, whereas what I was doing is a little bit of a more competitive aspect to it.
It is definitely. Well, there are some dyers and such who are very competitive, but for the most part, people really are very friendly, and they try to help each other out.
Yeah, I think
especially like if somebody goes into my booth and wants a green that I don't have, I might say, hey, you can go check out so and so's booth. I think they have the color you're looking for.
That's right. And you're putting together. Yeah, people that come to your conventions are putting something together, and they know it when they see it, and they may be attracted to something in one booth, and it's okay if they go somewhere else and find something and pull it in and do it. Whereas like I don't know, it's a little bit of a different just publishing
different
system
vibe.
thing. Yeah.
Different vibe, I think.
You don't get any people dressing. Well, you do have people dressing up at the Fiber Fest, right? You don't have like
Sometimes, like some people will dress like I sometimes wear something crazy because I
yeah,
can, and
yeah,
I'm undead.
but not
So
like a comic convention where you have people
no, it's
dressing
not the
as they're
same.
like
But
superheroes and
sometimes there
stuff.
are people dressed in steampunk
Oh,
stuff.
really? Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
so
yeah,
it is kind of
yeah.
that's kind of cosplay
Yeah,
like.
it was. Yeah, I was doing that for a long period of time, and it was fun for a while, and then I just got burnt out on it. But I
It's a
enjoyed
lot
it.
of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but there are aspects that are very similar to yarn in that, for you it's felting, dyeing, spinning. There's all these aspects to it. With comics, there's sketching, inking, coloring, putting together the
Yeah, I didn't
book.
realize how many
There's all
different people are
lettering. There's all these
involved in
different
just one
things.
book.
Yeah, and so what's ridiculous about it is you put this thing all together, you get these things printed out, and you sell them for a
Nothing.
couple bucks, and if it's never going to get popular because it's not a popular uh, brand or like
Right.
so you don't really um, unless they're really into comics and indie comics specifically, they're not going to really get into it
Yeah.
unless you can like persuade them. And a lot of times it's more of a you're talking to people, they're like, oh, I'll give it a shot, for a couple bucks.
It's more like the publishing companies. If
Yeah,
they latch onto you,
yeah.
that's how you get
Yeah, it's tough.
famous.
It's sort of a labor of love, and if you do it for a long time, and you kind of get it out of your system, and then you can kind of move on to something else. That's kind of the way it worked for me. Is I did it for several years, get several issues, and then after a while, I was like, what am I doing this for again? Okay, I feel like I've gotten what I wanted to get out of this, and now I can move on. And so it was satisfying, and I met a lot of really good people and nice folks doing it. But I had other interests I wanted to explore, and so I kind of got out of that. So, but yeah, it was a lot of
Maybe
fun.
next time I'll.
Yeah.
Sometime in the podcast
Embarrass
I'll
me with like,
show.
here's the
Yeah.
artwork thing. I don't know.
No, it's good.
We'll see.
This is the last one I wanted to show you guys. This one is from Night Owl Fibers, and I didn't realize it. I just saw the colors and I thought, oh, I
That's
really
cool.
like that. This is the people that I vended with at Stitches, Texas when she was first starting. She basically does self-striping yarn, and this colorway, after I got it, I was like, oh, it's a Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that blue in there. The blue
It's a
and
Diagon
orange.
Alley, but it's supposed to. She said she put one stripe in the wrong order, and I don't care as long as they stripe them. That's
cool.
good with me, and it's the colors I see. So anyway, that's what I did. The damage I did at East Texas. So I'm trying to not buy so much, but I don't know how well I'm doing with that.
Yeah. It's okay.
Anyway, let's see. Oh, I also did want to mention that I go to a knitting group, and we've been meeting like every month. It's really nice to see, like, we've known each other for a while, so it's really nice to get together with them every day, or not every day, every month.
Every month, yeah.
And I am going to be going to a retreat in March. It's perfect because it's the end of my break, my spring break.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, I thought we would just talk a little bit. Well, we've already talked quite a bit. Maybe a little bit about some of the stuff that we've done together.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull a chair up. I've been standing because he's a lot taller than me.
Yeah, we realized that it would be ridiculous how you'd be down here. I'd be like off the screen,
and we wouldn't even see him if he was standing up.
Yeah, so we were talking about Yellow Rose earlier. I mean, I can talk about it from my perspective, just not being in the industry at all, not doing any of this stuff. I really love the connection with people actually, shearing sheep and just the whole like beginning to end kind of process of actually creating something seemed really cool to me, and being able to talk to the people who are actually doing it at the different booths and everything was a lot of fun, and everyone was approachable and nice and friendly, and just a really cool place to look for unique, interesting gifts. I think the first one I went to, I was helping you out in your booth, but I was also exploring, looking at all the different vendors.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got some like cushions for my shoes, for my sneakers. There were like these felt cushions that were really cool. Alpaca. I got some socks for I think it was around the holidays, so I ended up getting a lot of pairs of really nice, warm socks for family and friends and that type of thing. So it was a great experience to kind of go look around and see what was out there, and just a lot of really cool people to meet and talk to, and just really enjoyed it. And I think seeing how people set their booths up and the different styles and different brands that are created, that was really neat as well. I think you go from like a traditional type of sort of look and feel to some more exotic kind of branding types of things that are happening, and interesting names and stuff, which is always exciting for me, being from having a design background. being able to see some of that stuff and see how people project their image out to the public is always really cool. And yeah, I just enjoyed that aspect of it. And I love that these are all over the place, and so a lot of times it gets us to kind of go and sort of explore a new area we haven't explored.
We hadn't been
Yeah,
to the north. I don't know if
yeah,
you call, is that like the north? It's like mid central or north states, not northeast, because we
yeah,
lived in the northeast, but
yeah,
like Minnesota, the Minnesota area, we
yeah,
had never been to, and I signed up for Zombie Apocalypse after I asked
yeah.
Anthony if he'd go with me because
Man,
we had to drive.
I love. Yeah, it took like 3 days.
It was a long drive.
But it's such cool. It's such a cool time. I mean, for us, it's did we pack the dogs with us that time, or did we not? Did we
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so we just
No, because we were staying in a nice hotel.
we got a kennel for the dogs and just kind of did the 3 day trip, and it's just an adventure. You get a chance to check out all these little towns and places you've never heard of before.
Yeah, it was different driving through
Yeah,
like Iowa with those big wind
yeah,
turbines
yeah.
and
Stopped in Austin. Was it Austin, Minnesota? Right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Austin, Minnesota, where
Yeah.
they make spam.
Yeah, it's spam capital, like where they process
Spam
spam.
factory.
Yeah, and so we saw the museum there. So it's just a fun thing. If you're a couple, for instance, if you have a boyfriend or married, and you want to have a little adventure with your spouse, it's a great opportunity to get out there and if you want to get into this, I'm not advocating this. I'm not trying to push anything, but I'm just saying it's a great way to support your wife and also like having a little adventure. Like for us, not having kids, it's always fun to get out there and do different things. So we really enjoy it. And
Yeah, we went all over Minnesota. Well, not all over,
yeah,
but we went to several places in Minnesota afterwards. We
yeah,
stayed several days, and
yeah,
so we got to go hiking, and
yeah, super
the weather
cool.
was so good.
Yeah, got a chance to
It was a
tour.
nice break from 100-degree weather here.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was. Yeah, you actually had to have a windbreaker and everything. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And then just during the event, Heidi's vending there. So what's really cool for me is I have a medical analytics background. I used to work for a medical analytics company doing user experience design. So Mayo Clinic's up there. So we were able
Yeah, it
to.
was actually connected
Yeah.
to the hotels
So I
we
mean,
stayed in.
I was like a kid in a candy store. Heidi's doing her thing. They have the Limb Lab up there, which is 3D printed arms and legs for people.
Yeah, he likes 3D printing.
Yeah,
too.
and so I was like, oh man, this is so cool. So I got a chance to go check that stuff out. Took a bunch of photos. Went over to the hospital and checked all this stuff out there. A lot of really cool stuff. And I think one of the cool things that works for us. This doesn't work for everybody, but for us, Heidi has her interests, I have my interests, and we're able to sort of separate, do our own thing for a bit. When we're visiting someplace, if she's busy doing something, and then me doing something else, we can regroup and like have dinner and do some nice stuff together. So it's really cool. I think for us, it's been a great way to explore different areas, and I just try to have fun, even if
you
I'm.
went with me when we drove to Super Summer Knit
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
I haven't vended
Yeah.
there, but I've been there several times. I didn't get in this year.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like,
I'm on the waiting list.
I'm tangentially interested in yarn because she's interested in yarn, but I will tag along and pick things up at these conventions
Yeah,
and
don't
learn
ask him
something.
questions.
Yeah,
'cause-
I know like the 101 questions, but when you start getting deep into the different types of fabrics and why, then I get a little lost.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, she'll
Or
be back from the
pattern
bathroom in a
questions.
second. Come back. Yeah.
He's always like, don't leave the booth.
Yeah. No,
Or you can go, but don't go for too long.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. Basic. Well, that's why I like when people come to the booth who know what they want. They don't have any questions.
Mm-hmm.
They just, I can talk about her process, how she sets up things in the garage. But if you ask me specifics about, like other stuff, I don't really know. So.
And I did say I wouldn't be vending anymore, but there's one event that I might be vending at because they asked me to do a colorway for their retreat. So we'll see. Maybe I will be there, and if I do that, I may ask him to come help.
Yeah, I don't mind. It's fun. Like I
So-
said, Nashville. Went to Nashville one time. That was
Yeah,
great.
that was a Super Summer Knit
Yeah,
together.
get to try some hot chicken. Never had that before. That was
good.
fun. So you get the chance to, I mean, what's not to like about that? If you're, we speak to the spouses here for a second. If your wife does this thing and she wants to go to one of these events, just make it a fun trip. Even if she's not vending or something, just go with her and have fun. It's a great time to, maybe you can find
See
some
a different area.
Yeah, maybe you can find something that you like in that city, and then you guys can do that and sort of share the experience, and it's just a great opportunity to have fun. And so definitely, I mean, that's what I was doing when I was doing the comic thing. We went to Comic-Con San Diego. Heidi
That
went.
was great.
She found some panels to go to.
I did my own thing, and he did his own thing.
So
most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you sync up, for lunch and things, but you just explore and have fun, and then it's just a great time. So I would definitely encourage folks who are maybe married to someone who likes yarn or something, just tag along and enjoy, foster the addiction of this fiber thing, and just kind of roll with it. You'll find out it's pretty cool, and there's a lot of really cool people that do it. So,
So anyway, I did want to end with saying that in February I will probably be having another sale in the shop. I have a lot of yarn that I have not photographed, and I need to do that before I can have the sale. So follow my Instagram in February. I'm going to still try to podcast every month, but there may be some times when I am not able to due to work issues. Just if I have a lot of stuff I have to do and I have to end up doing some on the weekend. So anyway, I guess with that, ready to say goodbye.
All right. Hey, it was a pleasure allowing me to sit in on this thing. It's the first time I've ever done this before with Heidi. So
yeah, he had he had a podcast, but it was an audio one. It was about comics.
It's called Part-Time Comics. Go check it out.
So he did it first.
It's on TalkShoe. It's okay. Don't if you're not in comics, you won't care. So don't bother. But it was fun, and I appreciate you allowing me to sit in on this. Maybe I'll do another one with you. Maybe I'll figure out something to do on my laser cutter, and I can show it on here or something.
That would be fun.
Anyway,
with that, I'm going to say get busy knitting or get busy dying.
Bye, everybody.